Welcome to Talksland. We're your hosts, Jesse and Bree, two besties on a mission to shake up the beauty industry from the inside out. Say goodbye to the self-help overload and hello to our cheeky and unfiltered take on being a babe in a toxic world. Let's get toxic.
Hey babes, it's been a while and we want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for sticking with us. The truth is it was one hell of a rough fourth quarter. We both experienced some extremely significant loss and devastation, and we really needed that time to heal and grieve and rest and give ourselves time to just survive. And the truth is, when you're not in a space to play and create, it's truly okay to pause, and that is a message we both feel very strongly about sending. There's enough pressure as it is to please everyone, to stick to a plan, to live up to the expectations you set for yourself or others set for you. And friend to friend, we want to give you all permission to take time and let it be as you're taking your time. So with that said, we're feeling re-inspired. We're feeling a little bit of pep in our step and some energy, and we are back. And we're back with someone very special to us both. Are you ready?
Welcome back to Babes in Talksland. Today we have a very, very, very special person here with us that we are interviewing. To know her is to love her. She is a true icon. It's an honor to be in her presence. We have today in the building Miss Lovely Laban.
Lovely.
Welcome, Lovely. How the heck are ya?
Thank you. I'm doing so well. It's just an honor to be here with you ladies. Thank you.
Thank you so
My
much.
babes.
Yeah, you're the original babe.
Thank you.
OG.
And now I'm in Talksland.
Welcome to Talksland. You're going to have to drop a little bit of lovely at the door and come with some talks.
Some crassy, sassy attitudes.
Yeah, bring the devil.
Okay.
Yes. So we have gone this far without really disclosing where we work, for one reason or another. But I think it's important to share our background with you, how we know you, how we're involved in each other's worlds. And Lovely has been such a fearless leader for us and such a positive influence on our lives for almost the last decade. We have worked together side by side. We've gone through hell and back. We've gone through COVID. We've gone through building a business. And she has truly just been a selfless and beautiful leader inside and out. So it was really important that we wrapped this season with her as our guest finale.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
Bringing it full circle. We have some super fun questions for you, which, probably aren't the most expected. I think people know you as a business owner, as an amazing injector, kind of an OG in the aesthetic world. I know you, we have a unique relationship. You're 100% the reason I got started in aesthetics, and I always will give you credit for that because it's a career that I love so much, and you inspired me to see the light in it. And every day, I'm so thankful for that. I would inject for free, and if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been introduced to it. So
My pleasure.
I love having you here. You're, without you, who knows? Talksland wouldn't exist.
I was just going to say, Talksland would not exist.
I wouldn't know Bree.
Because you
know
both
each other.
met.
We would not know each other. I would not still be in Portland. I would not be in my position.
I can actually say the same of both of you. I don't think Skin by Lovely would be the business and the practice and the thriving business that it is without both of you.
Thank
and
you.
your involvement and
Thank
input.
you. Especially Bree. I'm like, disposable.
No, but you know what? You're real, and that's super helpful. And I feel like I love your insight always.
Thank you. Thank you.
One thing that I always say about Lovely is she has such big dreams, but also gives other people space to create their own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been really, really important. And I think as we both worked with her, we've had so many opportunities to share our gifts and bring value to others. And I'm eternally grateful for that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So let's get into it. We're going to start with a little background and influence on your life because I find it absolutely fascinating. And some of these questions I don't know the answers to, and I think our listeners would find them really fascinating as well.
You bring definitely a unique background to the aesthetic space, and I think your background probably heavily influenced how you treat patients now, how you run your business, how you uphold yourself as a human. So I want to hear about life on the commune and how that's impacted your day-to-day life as a business owner, as an owner of one of the top aesthetic practices in the U.S.
I think that, the foundational, like the 3 premises of the Love family were love is the answer, the time is now, and we are one. And so they're really beautiful messages. And I think, the Love family was a patriarchal society for sure. My father was the leader, 500 members in its heyday in the late 70s, early 80s. It was one of the largest communes in the history of the U.S. Wow. And it was Judeo-Christian faith. So my father was kind of like the prophet of the commune, the religious leader, but he had absolute power, absolute control. And I'm the youngest girl of 12 children, second to youngest in that whole group, with 5 mothers. So my father loved to procreate. He loved to love, and his name was Love.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, Love Isreal. So I think it was interesting because beauty was definitely valued as it is in society everywhere. And I think my father was born in 1940. And so he's of that generation. He passed in 2016. But I think the Me Too movement would have crucified him. And I'm happy he wasn't around for that because it was hard. And, beautiful, docile women were valued in the Love family. Absolutely. The mouthy ones were not.
That's
and
interesting.
there was a dark side to it for sure. But I think natural beauty was really valued. Even in my early teens, he did not like when I wore makeup. He would say, "Why are you wearing that stuff?" Really? And he really valued natural beauty. These were the hippie days, so people didn't wear deodorant and everyone had long, hairy armpits. And, I think they were clean hippies, my mom says. But I think in general, it shaped. My father was entrepreneurial naturally also and super charismatic. And he would light up the room. Everyone wanted to talk to him and be in his presence. And so I do think I did absorb some of his charisma. And so starting a practice like Skin by Lovely, I really learned early that, well, actually, I wouldn't say early. I would say about 10 years in that I can't run Skin by Lovely like a commune.
Wait, why not?
Yeah, because it's really funny where, and I think you guys can agree with me here, where you're either in or you're out. And that was very much a commune mentality. And we've let that go, and I've let that go. And it's so important to just let people come in and out and flow with whatever's meant to be, because what I've found is, the greatest people we've found have come into our practice when other people have left, and it's cleared energy. And I think in the commune, I don't think my dad saw that. It was like people were written off if they left. And so I've absorbed so much from going through that of what I don't want to do.
Interesting. I have to say, through my own experience and, kind of being on both sides of that world within our practice, there's definitely a part of that I was really into.
Yeah.
I'll just be very honest. I've always liked being on a team, something that's maybe kind of exclusive, where you are kind of in or out, or it's all or nothing. And things like that have attracted me throughout my life. Even as a kid, I had clubs at school where we would make up our own names. Or my senior group of friends, we called ourselves the Gold Cheetahs, and you had to be initiated in.
Right.
My dad's in a car club. You have to be initiated in. Yeah. So there's part of it that I was definitely drawn to. It gave me really good. It actually helped my self-esteem many times, but I could also see the very toxic side of it.
Yeah. Well, I think I have an almost opposite take on that I was never big on teams. I always kind of flowed through cliques and always just liked being around everyone, never really kind of migrated towards a club. But I loved the fierce, amazing camaraderie that I just felt was genuine there. It wasn't about being in or out. It was just that I was with a group of people. I knew we cared about each other. I knew that we'd have each other's back, backwards and forwards. And, I'm almost your oldest employee. So, yeah, I've never been competitive. So I never really thought of it that way.
But I think that's the good side of it. And that was the intent always. Because I do think, like, I will die for you. Like, I will die for my team. Like, I can say, like, I will promote you. If you want to be a trainer, I will promote you to industry. I will do anything for you. But when you leave, it was so hurtful to me so many times when people left. And so emotionally, I've had to get to a place where it's okay. Like, I still want to be your friend.
Yeah.
It's okay, and I understand. But I do love it when we're all together. It's
I know.
I love every Skin by Lovely, and going into every Skin by Lovely fills me with so much joy because I look around and I say, these are my people.
That's really sweet.
Every single person on our team.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
So,
I'm very happy.
what was it like? Like, can you give me an example of what it was like when someone would leave the commune?
I just remember, so my mom left the commune when I was 4 and then raised my full older brother, older sister, and I by herself, single mom. And we didn't visit the commune for 4 years. So I didn't see my dad for that amount of time. Wow. So that was hard. I didn't really remember what he looked like. I mean, it was an interesting time. But when we reestablished our relationship and we started visiting again, I just remember when people would speak back to my father or create a scene, they would be kicked off the ranch. And it was a big deal.
Wow.
You couldn't challenge him.
Interesting.
And, you know, I think as time went on, he matured as a person. My father as an adult, like 50s, 60s, was so much better of a person, more evolved person than he was, you know, in his 30s in the big days of the Love family. He was such a different person. He was very respectful of me. And I think it's because I did push back. I did challenge him. I remember one time and no one ever really spoke back to my father. But it was right after I had my daughter, and he was staying with us, and he was complaining about something in my house. And I was just so hormonal. And I said, you are the worst house guest. I never want to have you stay here again. I was like, all you say is you should do this, you should do that. I'm tired. I just had a baby. Go stay somewhere else if you're going to complain.
Wow.
And it was like my father's jaw just dropped. But I feel like after that, he was very respectful of my boundaries. And he didn't ask me for money when I, you know, like he did my other siblings. Yeah. But overall, he was an amazing man. I miss him all the time.
I met him.
Yeah.
Remember? And he was hot.
Yeah, he was a good-looking man.
He was very charismatic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, I'll follow you.
Very, very handsome guy.
Where's the ranch?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wasn't hard for him to attract followers.
Yeah, I can see why.
Right.
Sure.
What was your mom's relationship like with the other women that had your dad's love?
So it was, you know, I think she still struggles with it, but I don't think my mom was very naive when she joined the commune. She was one of 10 children, German immigrants, super Catholic. And she joined, you know, having never had a boyfriend before.
Wow.
So she was 20 years old and just graduated nursing school. Wow. And he was the first man she was with.
Wow.
And so she didn't really know what to expect. She just knew that whoever you gave yourself to was who God wanted you to be with. Mm-hmm. And so I think that she struggled with that. And I think he kind of had my stepmom Honesty and my mom as his main wives, but then he would spread his love elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I think she struggled with it. And I think that's a big reason that she left.
Yeah.
I think she just was like, you know what? I don't know that I want to raise my children in this environment. And I think it was the right choice for her. And I'm happy she did it because I had a pretty grounded, solid childhood, you know, after that.
Like fiercely independent.
She is. She's very independent. Yes. And she's a Sagittarius too. So she has a little wild spirit. So
I love your mom.
yeah, she's pretty funny.
She's zesty.
Yeah, she is zesty.
So post commune days, you went to college in Seattle.
Yes, undergrad, SPU.
And then you went to UCLA, correct?
So no, actually. So when I was in my final year of nursing school at SPU, I saw that there was an integrated nurse practitioner program at UCSF.
Oh, that's right. You went to San Francisco. Okay.
So I applied to the Neuro ICU new grad program at UCSF and was hired. Moved down there with Emily, my good buddy Emily. And moved down there, and I had a boyfriend at the time who was planning on moving down a couple months later. And I was really hoping to get into that NP program because I loved naturopathic medicine, herbs, all that stuff. And that's actually why I moved there. And then started that program, loved the ICU. It was really fun. I worked night shift. I made so much money. I remember I was like living in San Francisco, but happened to make friends with no one that drank. And I was 21.
Oh.
And I was like, I want to go out and party. And no one was like, it was all like hiking during the day. Emily was working. And then my boyfriend moved down. And then that was like a slow decline where I was like, get me out of here. We broke up soon after that. And at that time, my sister Bernie and Refinement, my good friend, were moving to LA.
Oh.
And so that's what brought me to LA. And I called the ICU at UCLA and was hired over the phone, and then moved to LA. We lived in Marina Del Rey. Refinement and I shared a room. We had 2 mattresses on the ground.
Oh my God, I did not know this.
And my sister was a travel nurse. And so she covered the rent. And it was really fun.
nice.
We had so much fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What year was that about?
2002.
Okay.
Nice. The early days. Yeah. You can picture our fashion was really cool.
Do you have photos?
Yes.
Maybe we can snag a couple for the gram.
Absolutely.
So, how did you go from that to anything related to beauty and Botox? What was the next step?
So, very interesting story. My mom had taken a class on how to inject Botox.
Interesting.
Really?
Yes. And so she was really interested in doing it. She went to a class and had it injected for the first time. And this was 2004. 2004, I got into grad school, UCLA, to be a geriatric nurse practitioner. And I thought, well, I'm in the ICU. Maybe I should do something that's easier and lighter. So I applied to be a laser nurse in Beverly Hills. And this was at Epion, which is, at the time, the largest Botox practice in the country. And so he didn't want to hire me because I was a student, but I was very insistent. And I wrote letters and I called every day.
For anyone who doesn't know, he is Simon Orion, who's a very famous injector and, does a lot on social media with like the Kardashians, and he definitely puts on a good show.
Yes, yes. He's a very good marketing man. So, he gave me my break, though, Simon. I'm forever grateful to him because I started working in Beverly Hills and celeb spotting and walking around that world, which was so different, and learned how to do all the lasers. And that was really fun. And then he trained me on injectables after that.
So while you were working in Beverly Hills, the assumption is that you were exposed to, a high standard of beauty. And I'm curious on how that environment influenced your thoughts about not only beauty standards, but money.
So the interesting thing was, I don't think that I felt like I needed to get all the injections. Like, I always feel like I was pretty confident in that sense, more focused on weight at that time, stuff that through therapy, gone through. But I just remember all the beautiful clothes.
Oh.
The beautiful clothes, the Birkins, and just really admiring these glamorous women. And I loved that. And so that was why, like, I'm going to work really hard so I can afford to buy those things, but appreciating the fashion and the glamour more than anything. And I think, you do see the other side of people so insecure that it makes you be like, gosh, I'm pretty grateful that I don't struggle so much with that.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, but I think it was a wild environment. I also at that time was doing private duty nursing for, retired movie stars in their 80s, 90s. And that was very fun. Just a whole different experience, having to work with security and bodyguards and, meeting these people. And that was wild.
Yeah.
You don't have to say who, but did you have to change any rich old dudes' diapers?
Empty catheter bags, yes. Empty catheter bags, massaging the scalp with oils. I mean, it was definitely some interesting things, but they were all sweet. So
They're probably in a very nice mansion doing
yes,
so.
exactly. And this, you know what? And they feed you well. I mean, it was pretty chill and pay you well.
So I have done worse for less.
Yes. It was definitely a blessing. Yeah. So funny.
So, what do you feel like beauty actually means to you, and how has your definition of beauty evolved as a business owner and as a mother to a young girl who's getting into beauty herself?
Oh, she's so into it. I think overall, I feel like with a name like Lovely, I was raised with this lovely in thought and deed. And definitely for many years, I struggled with having to always look perfect and be lovely all the time. And I think with therapy, I kind of broke through that barrier in the sense that lovely is not my aesthetic. Lovely is my heart and my actions. And there's so much more depth to what that word means. And so I think that has helped evolve what beauty means. And I think beauty is kindness. Beauty is light in someone's face and happiness and joy. And I think it's not standardized. It's super personal. And I think everyone is beautiful. And, something that I really live by is always looking for the good. Good in every situation, good in everyone. And so I think that's really important. I mean, we all see people who may be beautiful, but they're really inside not so beautiful. And so I think I really focus on Dean on that too.
When you wake up in the morning and you just are not feeling it, it is not the day. How do you combat that? What is your go-to to when you have a full day of patients and you know you have to be on? It can be really challenging. So what's your lovely little tricks to get in the mood?
Dialing my inauthentic side. Dialing it in.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dialing it in and faking it until I make it, because there's plenty of days. And being a leader to a business, there are days where I do not want to be there and I'm not particularly in a good mood. I don't want to be with anyone. I don't want to make chit chat with anyone. And then you just have to fake it.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I think nature is important to me. Going on long walks kind of helps recenter me. There's this book that I gave everyone at the shareholder retreat. Pixie Lighthorse is the lady's name, but it's like the prayer book. And I open that sometimes when I feel like out of alignment and like I need a message from the universe, because I'm such a believer that the universe is constantly sending us messages and we just have to be open to receiving them. And so when I feel out of alignment, I'm a morning person. Absolutely. I get up at 5:30. I work out. I do my things, and I have quiet and peace in the morning. And so that centers me always. When I don't have that, then I can be grouchy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If you were to roll out of bed at like 8 o'clock, would you feel instant chaos?
Yes. Definitely.
That's starting to happen to me, where I need a little bit of solitude. Or
It's important.
Yeah.
When you're in a business that is so giving at all times, you are constantly giving light to everyone and energy to everyone. And, my role is also the energy manager in a sense, where I want to lift morale. I want everyone to be smiling but truly smiling. And it's exhausting. And so I do need that time to recenter in the morning. And, if my son wakes up early and I don't have that time, it is really hard. It's super hard for me.
Yeah,
I need it. I need quiet. I'll put my noise canceling headphones on sometimes. Yeah, just to escape. Yeah. And he's loud.
Yeah.
My son is really loud.
Looking forward to that. I was just thinking, I wonder how many times I've heard you say long walks.
Yeah.
That's a good word. If I had a quarter for every time a lovely Laban said long walk.
Long walks. ASMR.
You should. Have you read one of those? You should do it.
You should read a little story.
I will.
On Instagram.
Okay, I will.
Maybe you should read one of your prayers.
My other job was a news anchor woman.
Oh, I could see that.
Yes.
Oh, that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So funny. I love that.
My alter ego.
I want to talk a little bit more career before we move on to that a little bit deeper. So we talked about how you navigate the pressure and expectations of being a role model and a leader, and I can certainly relate to that. Oh gosh, sometimes it's tough.
Not me.
You don't want to be there.
No, I know. I don't want anyone putting me up on a pedestal. I mean, lots of people have asked me, oh, why don't you start your own thing over the years? It's like, because I don't want to be held to that standard. You can never win. You can never be the good guy.
It's true. And there's not a ton of grace. We've talked about that before too. Just sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's kind of the responsibility you signed up for.
And it's a great responsibility. And I think after COVID, it's changed even more. I think, COVID stripped many people of resiliency and adaptability. And so there's a, focus of the boss as the bad person way more so after COVID. And I don't know exactly what that is, but it's been hard. It's been super hard. Yeah. And, I have to really maintain my space and my boundaries with personal life. And I don't do a good job of that. And Jake doesn't do a good job of that. But we're really trying. This is the first time we're trying. Yeah. Because it does. Like, it's just grating. It's just like, I can't have my kids see us having another serious conversation about something work related. It's a struggle.
Yeah. What's it like building a multi-million-dollar company with your husband that, you've been in practice for 20 years now? So what is that like?
I don't recommend it.
That's not what Jake said.
Yes, exactly.
Jake said it's been the best 20 years.
Oh, I'm sure he's, when you interview him, I'm sure that's what he'll say. I think initially out of convenience, it's great. And I think we never realized that Skin by Lovely would be this large, that we would employ this many people, that we would have kind of the movement that we have had with employee ownership. And I think we've created hospitality and aesthetics and huge, that's Bree really's influence. And I think, but we always take it home. We are not that couple that's like, we can only talk about it these hours. We take it home, and it has dominated our life. It's ruined vacations. There's so many things. And I don't recommend it unless you really need to do it, or you keep it small. Then it's easier. But the more management of humans, the more challenging it is. And, but of course it has its pros too, because, we're motivated together to build something really special. And we both have that same vision of, creating a really beautiful place for people to work. We both had horrible work situations in the past. And so I don't know, what's our legacy going to be? I think it's going to be creating the first employee-owned aesthetic, company, and also creating this hospitality and aesthetics, but also creating this wonderful community where patients feel so cared for and loved for, and our team do also. And I think, that feels really special to have done that together with your partner.
Totally. I'm sure you've had lots of ups and downs, but when you guys are 90 together, you're going to look back and be like, wow, we really did some amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be so happy.
Definitely. No regrets.
I have a question about that, actually. And this is something I've never asked you. Do you feel as if you and Jake have taken enough time to celebrate all that you've created?
No.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm so, and you probably already know this about me, but I'm so forward looking. And actually, it's funny. Stay in the moment is like my father would always say, stay in the present, stay in the present. I'm just now really understanding what that means, because for children, they grow so fast. And when I'm with my kids, I'm like, I need to stay in this moment. I will never be able to recapture this moment when their faces look like this. And we don't. The only time we celebrate it is with all of you.
Yeah.
When we have celebrations. We don't often sit and reflect.
You're just thinking about what's next.
And I think that's me mostly. I think Jake would be happy with us just saying no growth, just keep it as it is. But I just have dreams,
He shared something with me one time that I'll never forget. And he said, I said, sometimes is it overwhelming to be around Lovely and I when we start doing our Lead with Yellow La La Land thing? And he said, well, this is kind of how it plays out in my mind. He said, the love of my life is giving me a to-do list in my head. because I want to figure out how I'm going to make all of this happen and support it all from maybe the angle she's not considering. And it just really made me think for a moment, like, I can understand that. Like,
he feels an enormous amount of pressure from me constantly. And I'm probably not easy to be married to because enough is never enough, to be honest. You know,
I think I'm a gem.
I think all of our husbands are probably like, oh God.
It's not financial. It's always just that I do thrive on change. And that's very, very hard when you're running a company and the majority of people really are scared by change. And I love it. And, you know, you can't change people's personalities. But I think it's very important that we have a growth mindset and that we are constantly evolving. I just don't want to stay stagnant. And I think I feel the same way about Skin by Lovely. I just don't. I want us to be always thinking how we can do better.
I mean, that's how I live my life. But that presence thing, that has completely, my life stopped when I had James. Like, I could never be present, especially when I was pregnant. That was the worst. And then when you have a baby, it is like every single moment. Like when I hugged him and I left today, I stared at him and he's like, looking at ladies, you know, and it really makes you present. And I hope most people, it doesn't take having a baby to really live in the moment, because it's a gift. Every moment is a gift, whether you have a baby or not.
And that's the hard part of running a business, is that you almost, and oftentimes we have prioritized Skin by Lovely above our time with our kids. And that's the honest truth. And it's because it's our livelihood.
Right.
If this doesn't work, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like, you'd figure it out, but it does make sense to pour into, you know, something that provides for all of you.
And provides for all of you.
Totally.
Like, it provides for, you know, almost 70 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Got a lot of
kids
shit on the line.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
It is, but that's what runs through our minds, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to provide for everyone?
Reflecting on your childhood, were there specific moments that impacted your perception of beauty, or you know, how you live a beautiful life today?
You know, my godmother was a huge influence in my life. She was my mom's best friend in the commune. And actually, my mom had a brain tumor when I was a year old, and she was, Vashti was my godmother's name, and she rushed her to the hospital. And Western medicine was not really accepted within the commune. Wow. But my mother woke up with half of her face paralyzed. It looked like she had had a stroke. And so they took her to the hospital. She had a tumor the size of an orange in her occipital lobe. So she was in the hospital, and Vashti saved her life. She brought her there. They did emergency neurosurgery. Soon after that, when my mother was home and she healed, is when we left the commune.
That was the tipping point.
That was the tipping point. She was just like, I'm out of here. I want to raise my kids the way that I want to raise them.
Wow. I like picturing her escaping in the middle of the night, going to the ER.
She told my dad that we were visiting our grandparents, and then just didn't come back. So we lived in Arizona for 3 years with my grandparents. Very strict German Catholic.
Wow. And how did they impact?
Oh, so they disowned her when she joined the commune. But then after this, they you know, she needed a place for us to be, and also she needed to take nursing refresher courses. And they had a program at what is that? University of Arizona. And so she took those classes. We were with my grandparents, which was a wild, completely opposite experience. I bet. And actually, at that time, which I think both of you know, they made us choose middle names because our names were not accepted.
Right.
Because, you know, Better, Fullness, and Lovely couldn't join the local Christian school. And so they made us choose names from the Bible. And so I chose Christina, like Christ.
Oh my gosh.
So my birth certificate does not say Christina, but I had to choose a middle name. And so my name is Lovely Christina. Isreal was my So that I had to go by, and then my mom's last name, Schmidt. So I had to go by Chrissy Schmidt.
Chrissy Schmidt.
Yeah.
You're not Chrissy Schmidt.
Yeah, that was my name for 10 years. Wow. Yeah. Until we kind of rekindled our relationship with our father. And then I went back to Lovely.
Can we call you Chrissy?
You can after a couple cocktails. She comes out. She definitely comes out.
Do you have an alter ego name?
I thought you did. What's yours? Bianca. Yeah, I thought it was Bianca.
She's sassy.
Yeah, I need one. Maybe we come up with one tonight.
Yeah.
Go take tequila shot.
A matador.
It's thirsty Thursday.
I love that. Oh my gosh. So anyways, Vashti and her impact. So when we moved back up to Seattle after that, she thought that she loved Shirley Temple.
Oh.
And so I was a very charismatic kid, very outgoing. I had little ringlets. And she entered me in the Little Miss Washington pageant.
Oh.
And so the fun pictures, we do have pictures. Yes.
No way.
The hilarious thing is we were dirt poor. We had no money. So you look at this album of all the kids in the pageant, and they're all professional pictures. It's like Jean Benet Ramsey, like makeup and everything. And there's me, pigtails, standing in front of a tree, just like a regular camera. And so your dad was supposed to, it was a huge, pageant on a big stage. Your father was supposed to walk you down the aisle. We didn't have a relationship with my dad at that point. So Luke had to walk me down, my brother, and put this crown on me. And so he put it on me, and I took it off and shook my head and was like, "You're doing it wrong," and put it on again. And my mother said that I lost. I ended up being a runner-up.
Nice.
But I lost because she said I had dirt in my fingernails.
Oh my gosh.
But I think it must have influenced me in some way. But also my godmother she was a Vegas showgirl. And she had, makeup, and her mother, who we had a lot of interactions with, she had tons of perfume and makeup and a beautiful vanity. And I remember seeing that as a kid and smelling all the perfumes and really loving glamour. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure that was the initial spark.
Yeah, some kind of seed was planted.
It's true. And I think that's why aesthetics is really my calling, is even as a young child, I would make over all of my friends. I would do their hair. I would do all of their makeup. And I would see that shift in light and joy with the praise that I would see that shift in their face.
Nothing better.
And that is what we do every day. That is what we do. And that's how I think of it. It's not what we're putting in their face. It's just creating light. And that's really what we're doing. It's like a little shift here, a little shift there of getting rid of shadows. And so that's the way that I look at it.
Don't you think that connects us all so very much?
Absolutely. Like when you look good, you feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My friend told me like this random little story the other day where she said, I got broken up with and I was heartbroken, and I called my mom, and her advice to me was put on your best dress and go outside. And I was just like, that's kind of like what aesthetics is.
It is.
It's like, you are in a sad place. You help yourself to feel better. When you look good, you feel better. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like full circle. And I know that people love to hate on our industry, and they will continue to, but it truly is empowering.
It's empowering. And like I said, it's not about what we're doing, really. It's about the relationship and the way we make our patients feel and the way we make each other feel, right?
Totally.
We have the luxury and the honor of creating a little spark of joy in someone's day and a spark of joy on their face. Yeah. And what a beautiful place to be. What an absolute place of honor. And so, that's the way that I think about it. It's not Botox. It's not all these other things. It's just, and Botox is interesting in itself because I feel like we're putting something in to alleviate the depressor muscles. Like we're creating elevation. That's already like something metaphysical there.
Yeah, true. And I mean, the studies are there to back it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Even the shareholders retreat that we just had, some of my favorite moments from that are when like Rachel was French braiding my hair. We're putting, blush on Shauna, and we're all just like lifting one another up. It's like we're little kids getting ready for a high school dance.
For sure.
Like we just get so much joy out of uplifting others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoyed getting hoisted up on the zip line.
Oh, yeah. I was like, when will this end? One thing to another. One station to the next. Get me through.
Yeah, we all ziplined together in the Washington side of the gorge, and
So fun.
quite the team building activity. It was so interesting how it brought out just different sides of everyone that were so different, like with how they operate at work, and it was cool. I liked it.
I think everyone really liked it.
Yeah,
Super lovely.
It was a good challenge.
yeah.
And we're going to pause right there, babes. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday with the OGLL. We'll have more fascinating chit-chat and more Q&A about history of the commune life, raising a daughter, navigating the world of beauty, and being a business owner. We love you guys so much. See you soon.